Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Champions League semi-final week. Chelsea versus Real Madrid. It is going to be an epic affair. I'm joined by Jem. I'm joined by Daniel and Anita here to preview this game. And there's so many talking points, so many little nuances to this as well. The return of Eden Hazard. Will he start to get the former club? There's the Raphael Varane transfer that is picking up pace ahead of this huge tie. Of course, last week we saw the turmoil and the fallout from the Super League. Real Madrid supposedly still in it. If that exists, will that add a little bit of extra needle? I'm sure Perez is going to be opening his big mouth in the next 24 hours or so. But what an evening it poses to be for Chelsea. Seemingly no hope of winning silverware a few months ago. Frank Lampard gets sacked. Thomas Tuchel comes in, and this is a whole new frontier for Chelsea. But evening to each of you. How are you all feeling right now and ahead of tomorrow's huge game?
Ready. I'm ready. I'm not used to it, but I'm ready. Let's bring it on. I don't get nervous till the day of the game, innit? So I'm calm now, but you ask me maybe an hour before kickoff, I'll be nervous, man. But look, it's one to look forward to at the end of the day. And it's an indication of what this team can potentially do if we hit top gear. So it's a good start, man. Good start.
I'm shook. I'll put you guys straight up. I'm nervous. I'm shook. I don't have the confidence everyone else has. These are European giants. People wrote them off against Liverpool. People are starting to write them off against Chelsea. When the odds are tipping in our favor, it never really works out. So yeah, listen, I am a bit. I'm really scared for this one. I'm more scared than I would have been if it was Liverpool, but I would have rather got Romjid anyway. So it's a difficult one. I'm scared.
I think you're right to feel like that. I get why Jem's confident. For me, I look at this game. You never write Real Madrid off. In Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, they're sort of three teams. Liverpool to a degree. I just don't think you ever write them off in Champions League knockout football. They win it so regularly. They're just so well versed. And this team this isn't even a historic team. This team has won these major trophies. It's going to be amazing. One of the major talking points ahead of this game is, of course, the return of your prince, the return of Eden Hazard. And the big question is, will he start? Zidane has recently confirmed that he's ready to. Anita, I want to come to you first. How are you feeling about the prospect of going up against Eden Hazard tomorrow night?
Oh God, a lot of people on this channel already know how I feel about him. Like he's my favorite Chelsea player of all time. Like obviously you got your Drogba's, you got your Lampards, but Eden Hazard is my number one player. I'm scared, man. It's bittersweet because I'm happy he's, fit enough to play, but at the same time, I'm gonna cry inside if I see him kick a ball against us, Like he did say when he left that, he hopes to meet us in the Champions League someday, but now I'm just thinking, not tomorrow, please. Like I really don't want it to happen. But again, just delaying the inevitable. He's gonna play against us, and it's one of them ones where when the whistle blows, he's no longer my favorite player. He's officially an op. He's the op, and I've got to treat him like an op. But if he scores against us, Terry, you might see real tears from me. I promise you that. You might see actual tears.
I hear you on that. I've had to go through the same thing. Back in 2013, we played Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo was playing. The feelings were so torn because I love Cristiano, but of course he's playing against my team and he scored at Old Trafford as well. And the emotions were just crazy. How about yourself, Daniel? Was this one of those days where, you just need Eden Hazard to continue on in the way that he started at Real Madrid and be completely anonymous for this game?
Facts, man. Facts. I mean, Anita took the words out of my mouth. It's bittersweet. Look, the perfect analogy is, when you have that one girl in your life that for whatever reason it just doesn't work out, but you lot still remain friends, you still love each other, but it just doesn't work out, and then you see her move on with her new man. She even tells you about her new man and it's comfortable enough, but inside it's ripping you to shreds. That's what it is with Eden Hazard, man. Eden Hazard is our Cristiano Ronaldo. My favorite player of all time as well, easily. And what even hurts me
I am not tweeting one negative thing about Eden Hazard. No,
don't say that. Don't say that now, Anita.
I'm not doing it.
Don't say that now. Don't say that now.
I've got his Belgium jersey, all his Chelsea jersey. You think I'm gonna go tweet negativity about him?
His Chelsea, the Chelsea Conte, Anita, the Chelsea Conte jersey in my room is the one I've only worn once, and it's framed up. Like, that's how serious I treat Eden Hazard. Trust me, man, he's my guy.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, look, you just have to. We have to win, man, and then we can smile after. We can probably get a shirt, sort with Kante or something, but you have to win, man.
Absolutely. Are you worried, Jem? Are you worried there could be a sting in the towel from him? Or a lot of people are suggesting that he's either past his best or he just isn't suited to Real Madrid. Do you think there could be a sting in the towel tomorrow?
I don't think you can forget about how talented the player is, how individually talented he is. Yes, he hasn't been the Hazard that we know at Chelsea, as at Real Madrid. He has had injuries against him, whether it was him being overweight or injuries, whatever. But the one thing I would say with Eden Hazard is that if he's on the pitch and it's a tight game, and we ain't dominating the game as we have been in previous Champions League games so far, he could be the game changer. He could be the game changer. He could literally take that ball, run around 2 or 3 of our players, 1-2 to Benzema, and put it in the bottom corner, and that could be the difference. And that's what worries me with Eden Hazard, because he is, in my eyes, world class. He's a world class player. Top quality.
I hear you on that. Viewers, what are your thoughts on Eden Hazard? Will he start the game? Will he have an impact? And I want your thoughts on his time so far at Real Madrid as well. Lengan Sweet here says, don't sleep on Real Madrid. And I don't think anybody is to a degree. Ads here says, big up to the panel. Big love from Ads. Yes. C says, this Champions League match has me worrying, thinking it might be a hairy one. Talking about hairy, Manscaped. Yes, Manscaped can sort out any hair problems you've got as a man. 20% discount still available. Link is in the description below, so go and check that out. So we know that he's returning. He's going to be doing his thing there as well. One of the Chelsea players I wanted to touch on. There's a lot of talk about this young guy at the moment. He scored at the weekend. It's 22 goal contributions in 44 games this season. I want to speak a little bit about Timo Werner. How do you honestly rate his season so far, Daniel? And should he be starting the game?
Werner's weird. Werner's a weird case.
Facts.
Werner's weird. And the reason why I say that is because Werner's not Morata, Higuain, or even Torres. Like, Werner's useless, but he's useful at the same time. Like, he's so annoying, and it's so frustrating. Like, the potential that is obviously there, but then the touches sometimes, the chances. He already has a miscompilation that like competes with some people's career miscompilations. Like, that's how bad it is. But somehow he has the stats to almost suggest that he's had an okay to quite good season for someone in his first year. If he didn't have the misses he had, I'd even say this was a calm season for him. This is quite a good season, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Like, has he done what we've expected him to do? No. I expected Werner to get 20 goals in his sleep in all competitions, and he did, and he quite simply hasn't got that. So it's just tough, man. The fact that we still need a striker after spending over £50 million on him, I think that is kind of an indictment on him as a player, because now we get a striker, it brings into question his usefulness to the team. I think that in behind thing, teams that play a high line, Werner's always effective. But I don't want a player that can only be effective for 4 to 5 games in a season. What's the point? Like, do you know what I'm saying? The goal he scored on the weekend, we get a top quality striker in. That goal becomes irrelevant to Werner's tally. Do you know what I'm saying? And he only becomes a useful player 5 games in the season. We need Werner to be useful every game he plays. So it's just a weird case. I think this season, yeah, fair enough, calm season. But next season, when we get a striker, it's going to be serious questions on his place in the team.
How about yourself, Neat? So I know that obviously you were so excited about him when he came in. His goal scoring talent isn't great, but do you think do you agree with Daniel that the level of misses, although he scored at the weekend, it was a big miss late on in the game against West Ham. Do you think the level of misses, the type of misses that he's had, just means it's just been it's been a poor signing and a poor season from him? Or do you think people are exaggerating a little bit just to stick it to a Chelsea player?
Yeah, there's no exaggeration. You know, if you asked me this in like December, I would have still backed it. I'd have been like, no, it's gonna come in clutch, it's gonna come in clean. I'm still waiting for it. Like it's so crazy how many points we've lost because Werner couldn't finish his dinner. It's absolutely crazy. And it's not this super chat here. I don't think he has zero IQ. I don't think his footballing IQ is low, but I just feel like his confidence is severely affecting him. And we've seen it with Morata. We've seen it with Torres, that confidence is a major factor. And I understand, but I can't, dismiss the fact that just because he's a hard worker, he's not clinical enough, Like, I can't dismiss the fact that he's not clinical enough. It's so bittersweet because I remember at the start of the season, I was showing everyone like compilations of him playing football, all the goals scored. I was even showing my dad, and my dad was so excited about him. And for him to be making these misses in front of me, like it's kind of embarrassing. And I personally think this Werner signing was not thought through. As a football fan, of course, I wanted him. He's got a lot of goals on his belt at the moment. But at the same time, I look at videos of Werner's misses when he was at Leipzig, and I'm thinking, so this was happening all along. It's always been a thing of his to miss some chances, and Chelsea didn't pick up on that when we signed him. So, yeah, it's a hard one, man. It's hard, but for me personally, he's not good enough. He needs to go. He's got more assists than he does goals, and he's our 9. He needs to go.
Wow, big claim there. I mean, Jim, do you agree? Timo Werner has to go.
No, I don't. And for me, it's every player that we sign this season, you've got to give an opportunity. To going into next season, if we have the same issues with him, with a striker, whether it's him playing off a striker, if he's still missing them clear-cut chances, then we've got to question it. I agree. The thing with Timo Werner is, I think the biggest issue with it is I don't think we play too much to his strengths. I think we do look at the misses that he's made, and they are big misses, they're clear-cut misses, and I agree with that. I think that's a mentality thing. I think that's something up here with him personally. But if you look at his overall performances when he's playing and he's on the pitch, what would worry me more is if that he wasn't making them runs. He wasn't hungry to get in the positions or even get in the right positions to maybe even try and score. Yeah. I'm not trying to make excuses for him because there's a lot of things that we can sit and be negative about, but his goal contribution levels are decent. And that's the reason his goal contribution levels are decent is because he's getting himself in the right positions. He might not be scoring. So at the end of the day, if a striker coming in means that Timo Werner can play off this guy and he improves in front of goal, and he can continue at the same levels in terms of the goal contributions that he has this season, then we're all happy. So give him. Why get rid of him now? It makes no sense for me.
But do you know what the problem is, right? The problem is that we have to play to Timo Werner's strengths, and we have to gamble, because if we play to just Timo Werner's strengths, if it doesn't suit our striker that we bring in, next season, what next? If it doesn't suit all the other players around him, because playing to Timo Werner's strengths means we're going to constantly play with 3 at the back. I'm not hearing this 4-4-2 rubbish. I'm not hearing that. We're going to constantly play with the 3 at the back. And a lot of people don't like the 3 at the back as it is right now. So playing to his strengths means we have to restrict the team quite a lot. And I'm tired of having restrictions in our team.
And Anita, no, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, if it came down to what would I prefer, either next season we start Werner, or if there was an option, like you get Haaland in and they say, you either start Werner or you put him on the bench, like, or even sell him, I'd sell Werner in an instant, like in a heartbeat. Because at the end of the day, look, that confidence thing, I'm not hearing it, because strikers who aren't confident don't even get into the position to score goals. Like, we're talking about playing to his strengths. If Timo Werner had the normal amount of because all strikers miss chances, but he's missing gilt-edged chance, as in like Terry, you always bring up the stat when people talk about the strikers where there's chances that these strikers miss. Lewandowski misses chances, like these big time strikers miss chances, but they don't miss gilt-edged chances every single time they are faced with it. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that I have with Timo, like playing to a player's strengths who is clearly limiting what your team is. It's the Trent debacle basically. Like when Trent isn't playing well, there's no reason why you necessarily have him in your team. As when we're talking about England, because you have to basically cater everything to a right back just so that he can play well, when that makes no sense because he's not playing well. The same thing goes for Werner. Why would I basically do everything to just cater to him, but he's not playing well? He's not taking his chances.
And
I think we're too reactionary.
But wait, the funny thing is, I think Werner is a good player. Overall player, he's a good player. I think he's a good player. And I don't want to see him next season wasted on the bench because that's going to be the likelihood of it. Can Werner play well as a left winger? No. Can he play well as a right winger? No. Can he play well behind a forward? Yeah, he can. How many times are we going to play three at the back to accommodate him? How many times? Like, I don't want to see him get pushed to the bench because I think he's very talented and he's a very good prospect for Germany going forward as well. We're restricting him with his Germany chances at the moment. So if we can, maybe even loan him out, sell him out, if we can do that to save his career, I won't mind doing that. Personally, I won't mind doing that because at the end of the day, people are saying that I'm being reactionary or people are saying that I'm moving mad, and that's absolutely fine. But if we have this same conversation next season, it's going to be in a different tone and everyone's going to be angry and everyone's going to be saying this guy clearly just isn't talented. I'd rather avoid that conversation, personally.
He almost cost us that West Ham game. Let's not forget that.
It's okay.
He almost cost us that game. And I'm tired of it. Like we're making. I'm not being real. I'm not saying we should sell him. Look, that's not reactionary.
So
I'm criticizing
that. He also won.
No.
If he didn't score that goal, we would have drew that game.
But there was if we didn't get the red card, though, you have to think about it like this: we're a team that's aiming to win the league. Can Werner be the striker that wins us the league?
I don't think yet to be seen.
Don't skirt around it. It's yes or no.
It's yet to be seen. Because for me, like I keep saying to you, I'm not going to. I'm going to give him. He's not going anywhere. He's not going.
I remember this conversation surrounding Morata. I'm just going to put that out there.
It's the optimism.
But he's not Morata, though, is he?
What I would say to end this, viewers who want your opinions, Werner, does he deserve another season, more starts? Would you sell him? We want your views. We want your opinions on this. The one thing I would say before we change the subject slightly is what you said there, Jem, around adapting Chelsea's style to suit him. What if Tuchel's style is what we're seeing now and it isn't working for Werner? That means you have to cut that out, don't you?
I'm not talking about adapting in terms of formations. I'm talking about the players playing to his strengths, which means when you get the ball and that guy's making a run, find him. Because you know his strengths is that he's going to make a run and you need to play the ball over the top. I'm not talking about the change in formation. I'm talking about actually playing to his strengths when he's on the pitch.
I do hear you. Yeah, no, 100% hear you, bro. I'm not too sure why, but yeah, you do sound very robotic when you're talking. Try just plugging your earphones in with mic on. It might work better, mate. Yeah, I'll mute you while you do it, mate. Stay on there. I'll mute you while you do it. That might work a little bit better. But based on tomorrow night, we move on to the next section that I wanted to discuss with Chelsea fans. Who starts? Attacking options tomorrow are going to be absolutely key. We kind of Mason Mount starting. Like that's a prerequisite. Mason Mount starts. There's no doubt about it. From your point of view, Anita, we kind of know what formation you're going to play. Who would be the two players around Mason Mount in that attack that you would pick to get the very best out of Chelsea?
Boy, it's a very, very difficult one because I feel like with the way Real Madrid, especially against Liverpool, they were really compact when it came to defending. So we're going to need someone with quick feet, in my opinion. So I think we've got to start Kai Havertz. Personally, I think Kai Havertz is definitely one. And funny enough, I'll probably start Christian Pulisic as well. I think I'll start them too.
How about yourself, Daniel? Do you agree?
Firstly, Hudson-Odoi has to be on this picture. I know maybe it was technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
No, technical difficulties. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest as an outsider looking in. 99.9% of the time he'd been picked for Tuchel. He's been picked as a fullback. So I don't put that in the attack. That's the only reason I'm being honest.
Fair enough. No, that's just the Cho stand in me. Anita knows, innit? But what's it called? Oh, do you know what? Yeah, Mason Mount, yeah, surefire. I think you start Kai. I think you start Kai up front. And then you know what? It's Ziyech nostalgia, but Ziyech played well the last 2 times he faced Madrid. And that sometimes works in the favor. You know what I'm saying? Like when he sees a team he's obviously played well against before, that works normally. And I won't say Ziyech, like Tuchel brought Ziyech to life, but I mean, like I won't necessarily say like Pulisic was quiet against West Ham. Do you know what I'm saying? Like so, Ziyech can come in. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd play Kai, Ziyech, and I'd play Mount.
Do you know, I'm actually not mad at Ziyech playing either. But my thing is, right, if Ziyech loses possession to that midfield, it's peak. It is very peak. So that's all I'm saying. Because you know he's not one to keep possession now. He's not one to keep possession.
You know what's mad though? Like when you remember Ziyech, like I'm sure you watched the Ajax Real Madrid game. That was like Ziyech in his element. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And he didn't lose the ball. He kept the ball, kept ticking. Obviously, Ajax play very differently to us, but we play good possession as well. We know how to keep the ball as well. So I just think this might be the game, like coming of age. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of let's see what happens anyway. But I'd start Ziyech. Yeah.
Do you know what I like about Ziyech? He's been kind of written off a fair bit, and I get why, because he hasn't had a great season. But he scored 2 or 3 really important goals recently in the FA Cup semi. I swear he scored against Atletico in one of the games anyway.
Yeah.
And I just get a feeling that sometimes you get these players that kind of go missing in normal games, but they have a habit of turning up. We had a little 2-3 year period at Man United where Jesse Lingard turned up in finals and in big games, and we're just putting a performance. And maybe Ziyech just has that about himself. And the one thing I'm a little jealous of is the abundance of riches that you have in that category overall. To be fair, there is a super chat here actually from Ben, and Ben says Werner has 21 goal contributions this season. He actually has 22, by the way. And he has had a down year. He can easily pick up with a full preseason and time to adapt his game. Well, I think that's why all but Anita said they wouldn't sell him. But yeah, they're still worth the criticism there. How about yourself, Jen? When your attacking options tomorrow, who would you go with?
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
No, that's even worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
I'm having a nightmare today.
Have you got earphones that plug into your laptop?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, plug earphones in and use your earphones as the microphone as well. That'll be banging.
You hear me now?
No, I don't get it. It must be. I don't know. No, we can hear you. It's just like snack, crackle, and pop. It's a madness. It's a madness there. Yeah, who would you pick to start up front tomorrow?
Mount Havertz and Pulisic.
Yeah, that's what most people. We can hear you. We can hear you. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's Havertz, Mount, Pulisic. I wouldn't start Timo Werner in this game. I think Ziyech is a no-no as well. Why is Anita looking like that? I was about to say something next, but then she's looking at me.
Do you know what? It's breaking up so much.
It is. It's terrible.
I'm trying to make it out.
Try come back on your phone if you can. Just that way, a little bit easier, man. It'd be a little bit easier for us all to hear.
By the way, can I quickly just reply to that super chat just really quickly?
Yeah, push cam.
No one's saying he's not a good player. He's a good player. He's contributed a lot to the team and stuff. But just remember what we signed this guy for. Remember what position he plays. He is delivering more assists than he is goals. That is a cause for concern for me, because there are other players in this team that can also adapt in summer, that can also go to preseason and be one of the best assisters for Chelsea. Oh, for fuck's sake, who's calling me? Sorry. And Sorry, it's because it's on my Mac. I didn't put my Mac on Do Not Disturb, but can also be one of the best. Can also be top assist next season as well. We've got the likes of Havertz, we've got the likes of Pulisic, we've got the likes of Ziyech, we've got the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi. They are all Mount. They are all creative, and they can all put in the assists that Timo Werner has been putting in. So that's all I'm saying. Remember, we signed him as a number 9. We signed him for goals. Right? We signed him for goals. He's not scoring goals for us. That's the problem. But of course, if next season he bangs, I'll come here and I'll eat my words. Easy. I win either way.
I hear you on that. Viewers, we want to know your attacking options for Chelsea tomorrow night. Who should Thomas Tuchel go with? Who should he pick? Make sure you're smashing that like and that share button. We do have a little treat for you all as well. Like, we didn't tell you this at the start, but now you're all here. We'll tell you once we finish the preview here. We are going to be discussing and debating the Hall of Fame. The first 2 inductees have, of course, been introduced today. We're going to be having a bit of a chat, a bit of a debate, a bit of a conversation. We've got Tom and Neeks that will be joining us at that point of the show to go through what they think and feel. Of course, as we all know, today, Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer were both added, the first 2 inductees to the Premier League Hall of Fame. So we're really looking forward to going through that a little bit later with you as well. We are going to be looking at and discussing and debating who the next 2 individuals should be. These are the 5 that we're going to be debating tonight. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you continue to talk to us and stay with us here on the football. Terrace. I can see a Liverpool fan Tom backstage holding his head in his hands because he's seen Gerrard on there. He's on the shortlist. He's on the shortlist, so we had to pick him. In terms of ahead of this game, though, how are you feeling your form is going into this match, Jem?
Good. We've been good, haven't we? Let's be serious. We haven't been that bad. Barring the West Brom game, barring the Brighton game, we've pretty much turned up. If you look at Tuchel since he's come in and the total games that we played under him, we played well. You know, we've played well. I don't see us dropping that standard tomorrow. And I've said this before with the game tomorrow. If we do not, I think it's more on us than them. I think if we turn up and play like we did against the Atletico Madrids, even the Portos, I think if we turn up, dominate the game, hold the ball, get the ball moving, be aggressive, don't give them time on the ball, I think we'll beat them. I wouldn't say comfortably, but I think we will beat them.
Yeah, you look at that. I mean, look at the form. 4 clean sheets in your last 5 games, 6 goals scored. Yes, 4 of them were in one match, 3 wins. But the Porto game felt like an anomaly to me. One of the best Champions League goals you're ever going to see. To do it, you're not scoring a lot, but you're not conceding goals, and I think that's such an important element, to build on. Yes, Dan.
I think just to add to that, though, it goes back to a point that I made, and obviously, cheeky little plug, but it's what my recent article is actually about. The thing that we're yet to see that I think we could possibly see in this game is Madrid score first. In all the games that Tuchel has actually played, like, I've not seen us be on the back foot. So concede, and then have to go out and win the game. Do you know what I'm saying? Come back and win. And that's something about this Chelsea team that I don't know if we have in us. And I don't want a situation where Real Madrid score first, and who do you back as front runners? Real Madrid or Chelsea? Who do you back more as when they're in front? Like, who do you back more to keep it out? Like, I think either one of those teams. So whoever goes in front has the ability to front run. But it's like, now if Real Madrid go in front, it's gonna be so hard for us to come back in that game, especially with the way we're set up. What does Tuchel do? Expand it a bit more. The last time we saw our team be a bit expansive was, albeit we had 10 men, but West Brom scored 5. If West Brom can score 5 against us, boy, Real Madrid. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just, not that I want to see us go down 1-0. Of course I don't. But if there was one thing I wasn't confident in, and Tuchel has answered all the questions. The last question is, can we come back after being a goal down? And that's yet to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at both form guides, though, it's so close.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that you've had 3 clean sheets, 6 goals scored, 3 wins. You then look at Real Madrid, and it's almost I wouldn't say quite. It's almost identical, really. It really, really is. I mean, there's a couple of teams there I've barely heard of that they've played. To be honest, outside of Barca and Liverpool and Real Betis, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those games tomorrow, or it could be one of those games tomorrow for the purists. I don't think it's necessarily going to be about open, free-flowing football that we're all sort of sitting on the edge of our seats. I think it might be a bit of a chess game. What do you think, Neats?
Yeah, so I'm with Daniel in the fact that I don't want us to go down first. 100%. We can't go down first because I'm not sure how we're going to react to it. I'm not sure if I can trust the way Tuchel will react to it because, like Daniel said, last time we went down 2-1, we went expansive and we conceded 5. I'm not confident in that. But the reason why I'm confident that we won't go down first because every single team that we have played have struggled to score first against us. It's always been a struggle. It's under Tuchel, it's always been a struggle. And if we do get that first goal, I'll be very confident that even if Real Madrid get their goal, we can still go into the next leg like one hand up because are we playing at home? We're playing at Real Madrid first, aren't we?
Yes,
I believe so, yeah.
But if we get that first away goal, I am 100% confident because it's very difficult to break us down at this moment in time, especially with Tuchel in charge. However, if for some reason Real Madrid do get that first goal, we're in serious trouble because I'm not too sure who's going to be that front running man for us. Of course, Mason Mount will probably deliver something out of nothing. He's definitely our star boy. And one thing I do like about this team now is that we're starting to take shots outside the box. We're not going into the box and taking like 10, 15 touches anymore. We're taking shots outside the box. We're using our initiative when it's the right time to shoot, things like that. But at the end of the day, the one thing Real Madrid has up against us is the experience. They are so experienced in comparison to Chelsea's young side. Yeah. It is ridiculous. That's one thing that they're going to have. They're going to have one up against us. But I feel like Tuchel, and I've said this several times, he is a master tactician. When it comes to tactics, I don't think Zidane can even chat to Tuchel. In my opinion, Zidane just has very good players who know exactly what they need to do. So if Tuchel can go out there with the correct tactics, 100%, I believe that we can go through easy run to the final. But at the same time, their experience is what scares me. And yeah, despite their form in the Liga, despite drawing to teams I've never heard of, it's still... they are the most experienced team in this competition. And it is the same set of players who have won 4 Champions Leagues. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, just to air what Anita was saying, I think where the battle lies for me in tomorrow's game is the midfield.
Yep.
I think massively. You look at what Real Madrid have got and what they're composing. Casemiro, Modric and Toni Kroos are certain starters for me. And then you look at what we've got. Jorginho, maybe Kante. I don't think Kovacic is fit, is he? From what I understand, I believe he's injured. So, Mason Mount in there as well. I think a Mason Mount will be important tomorrow, just because of his work ethic, getting around the pitch, getting stuck in, trying to win balls back. I think that's where it will be won and lost, 100%.
There we go. Viewers, we want your opinions on what's just been said there as well. Final piece before we go to predictions. Interesting story that transpired today. It's picking up pace as things move forward, and ahead of this game, it could be quite big. Chelsea leading the race to sign Raphael Varane next season. How are you feeling about that, Anita? How are you feeling about that as a potential signing, and it picking up more and more pace, more and more credible journalists talking about it? Raphael Varane at the back for Chelsea next year looks very, very doable as it stands right now.
I think if I speak, I'm in big trouble. I prefer not to speak.
We're on the same wavelength.
I prefer not to speak because if I speak, I am in big trouble. Honestly, I'm not too stoked. I'm just like, okay, if we get Varane, we get Varane. Am I his biggest fan? No. Would he be a good addition to the team? Okay, I guess. I want a defender who is a leader. Is Varane that? Let's ask Ramos, because whenever Ramos is injured, Varane doesn't really have good games. But hey, That's what I'm gonna say. Because if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
She's right.
You agree, Jay?
She's
You
right.
agree?
Yeah, he's a pace merchant, and let's be serious. He's just a pace merchant. He's look. People always throw it in our face and go, "Oh, he's won a World Cup." Mustafi won a World Cup. Does that mean he's great? Do you know what I mean? Like it winds me up. The guy he's good next to a leader, but like Anita says, without a leader, he's vulnerable in games. I want someone that's going to come into Chelsea and be the new John Terry. I don't want someone to come in and be the new Christensen. Do you know what I mean? But an upgrade from him in terms of his distribution, pace. Yeah, he's a good defender. But is he the man? Is he the model of defender that Chelsea need for the next upcoming years? The leader, because that's what we lack. Leaders is something Chelsea haven't got. Varane is not a leader. So I agree with Anita. I hear what she says, 100%.
Disagree. Couldn't disagree more, man.
Go on, bro.
Disagree more. And the reason why I say that is, tell me the centre back you want over Varane. You want Jules Koundé?
I'd rather have Jules Koundé than have Varane.
Then you're mad. Then you're mad. You're absolutely mad. You're mad.
How old is Varane?
You're mad. I think that's madness.
How
can you say you want a leader? You go on and say you want a leader. You want the new John Terry, and then you say you want Jules Koundé, who doesn't even have remotely close to the experience, close to the level of talent that he's played with, as Raphael Varane. How can you say that?
How old is Varane and how old is Koundé?
Varane is 25.
27.
All right.
He's in his
and
prime.
Koundé?
I think 22, 23.
Okay.
22.
Yeah.
So you want to throw in? You want Chelsea to go and buy a defender that's already proven. Let's be serious. He's pushing to the.
You want to buy an upgrade?
He's already meant to be in his prime.
You want to buy the upgrade of Nathan Ake? You want to buy the upgrade of Nathan Ake?
He's not. Oh, come on! What a 22? So if that's the case, that means every 22-year-old you're going to look at, based on his age,
5'9".
Is a Nathan Ake.
He's 5'9" for one. He's 5'9" for one, which means that he's not a centre back who's going to be commanding in the air for us, and that's going to be a huge issue for us because our team is already small. So we need a centre back who is tall and at least looks. He's tiny for a centre back. On top of that, look, I'm not hearing that Mustafi's won a World Cup. Look, Varane's won 4 Champions Leagues as well. Mustafi don't have 4 Champions Leagues. And yes, you're going to say he won it with Real Madrid. Look, the first title, Pepe was the main centre-back. The other 3 titles, Varane was the main centre-back for those teams. And we're talking about the leadership levels of the team. Look, bro, we've got players, and I'm talking about the way Tuchel has set out his team. We've got players in and around the team where the centre-back that we buy doesn't have to be the one who's going to be the captain, or doesn't have to be the one who's necessarily going to grab you by the shirt and be Tony Adams. Look, I can understand if you have reservations about Varane, because one thing I always say is, as fans, we don't watch Varane week in, week out. So we don't see Anita. Yeah, you'll go in it. Almost done. We don't watch Varane with the same level of scrutiny as our Premier League level defenders. However, you can't dispute the fact that Varane is better than every single centre-back that we have at the club, barring maybe Thiago Silva, who is 36. Like, the legs are catching up to him. Like, even if
Rudiger's more of a leader than Varane.
Rudiger's not better than Varane.
He's more of a leader.
He said more of a leader.
Yeah, but that's regardless of the point. We want the best defenders at the club. We don't ask the next. Why does the centre back have to be?
You want a pace merchant at the club. You want a pace merchant at the club.
I think you're being disrespectful. Is he better? Is he significantly better than all the centre backs at our club? Yes or no?
I think people play too much FIFA.
It's just to agree to disagree, because that's where we are right now. But is he significantly better than all the centre backs we have at our club? Yes or no, Jem?
Is he injury prone?
Just answer the question. Is he significantly
It's
better?
not the answer, though, is he? In the long run, is he the answer to Chelsea?
I just want an answer to my question.
But it doesn't matter, because it's irrelevant. Because if you bring him in, it's not, for me. Look, listen, he's going to come in at 27 years old. Yeah,
He's
28 years old.
Anita, can you answer my question then? Is he significantly better than all the centre backs at our club?
Okay, my stance is right.
Before you give me your stance, just say yes or no, please.
I'm gonna answer your question with my stance, right? My stance is, I don't think Varane's a pace merchant. I do think Varane is a quality centre back. The only reason I don't want him is because I want a leader as a centre back. Right now, I think our centre backs are fine. I think our centre backs are fine. Is Varane better than all of our centre backs? bar Thiago Silva, probably. And that comes with experience. That comes with, I don't know. It comes with the pace as well. Whatever.
Distribution, quality, and yeah, he's
Distribution
more
is
complete than
He's
all
got
of
all
them.
that bollocks.
significantly-
What's it? Where's it got us?
Distribution is
Distribution.
significant. No, Jem. Wait. Because
We've got Christensen that you guys bang on about.
Wait,
for distribution. That's why he's in the team. And now you want someone else that's got distribution in the team.
Wait.
That makes no sense.
When it comes to distribution,
Are you comparing Christmas's
talk about Varane and
Varane's?
Use are the guys that say his distribution's the best.
No.
That's why he's in the game.
If you talk about distribution, that is one thing Varane most definitely has over all of our centre backs, including Thiago Silva. Over all of them.
Yeah, no,
and for me, that's okay. He's got qualities of a proper centre back. Yes. Do I want Varane at my club? No. I want a leader. I want a leader centre back at my club.
That's fine.
Do I want Jules Koundé at my club? No. If we had to choose between Jules Koundé and Varane, I'm choosing Varane. 100%. 100%. Varane is still a world-class player.
But Anita, the question is Anita. But answer this question then. When you think about all the centre backs that are in world football right now, if Varane was because Varane is looking like the best. Okay, let me not put words into your mouth. But if Varane was the only option, would you take him?
Honestly, I've just said it. No.
So you would go into next season with the same crop of centre backs that we have.
But the thing is, my
Dan, we ain't even been leaking goals.
Everyone else,
Guys, you know what?
Have we been leaking goals?
My opinion differs from everyone else's because, like Jem just said, we're not leaking goals, and this defense has proved that they are solid enough to. No. People know.
Wait a sec. You're saying
Daniel, people like you disrespect Rudiger week in, week out. You disrespect Rudiger, you disrespect Zuma, and you disrespect Christensen week in, week out. And they prove to us that they deserve to be started.
Cool. Can I respond to that now?
Do I want Varane? No, I don't.
Terry, please just let me respond. This is the last response.
Is Varane a world-class player? 100%.
Tuchel, a world-class manager, has come in and has basically been pragmatic and said, what I will do with the crop of players that I currently have is this. And the players are performing in the system that he has instilled into the team. Going into next season, it's not going to be the same if we have the same crop of defenders, because it's not going to be the same repetitive cycle, because people will figure out a way to handle Tuchel's system. That is why you need better players to play with that system.
Yeah.
Bring in a better player. Yeah. One sec. Just let me just finish. And
let him finish. Let him land. Go on.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying fooled, because I'm not necessarily saying our centre backs are terrible, but don't be so over focused on the fact that our defenders have played well to see out this season, because next season it isn't necessarily going to be the same, because we've seen our defenders implode. Why not bring in a defender that doesn't need his hand to be held as much as the guys that
Dan, one question. Where does Varane excel us as a defender if he comes to Chelsea, in your eyes? Where does he excel Chelsea as a football club if he comes in next season?
He becomes a defender that doesn't need his hand held.
That needs his hand held.
All the centre backs we currently have, apart from Thiago Silva,
so why add to that,
held.
Bro? That's what I'm saying.
No, Varane doesn't.
Why are we adding to that?
Varane doesn't. Varane is not. Are you putting Varane in the same category as Rudiger, Christensen?
Gentlemen. I've enjoyed listening. It's been nice to be back listening. A lot of viewers are angry. I've got to step in. They think that Raphael Varane is being mocked. They think that he is being ridiculed. They cannot believe Jem is comparing him on the same planet
as a centre back you have.
And that's crazy. Go on, Nitz.
Can I just say something? Like I've said before, Raphael Varane is a world-class centre back. He's better than our defenders, bar Thiago Silva, in my opinion. Do I want him? No, because I want a leader that can replace Thiago Silva. In my opinion. Do I think we need to be looking at defenders right now? No, I think we need to firstly look at our strikers. Secondly, look at getting a DM. Thirdly, look at one more person for the attack. Then we go to our centre back. Purely because our defense is not leaking
We've
goals.
been hoodwinked.
And
We've been hoodwinked.
Wait. They're not leaking goals. And you guys have to remember, I don't disrespect our defense the same way you lot do. I've always had faith in our defense, and I've always just thought that they needed the right training, in my opinion.
Anita.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys, we can't continue. I know, Danny. I need to repeat. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going around.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
John here, the super chat says Terry is a mad. I didn't say anything.
You did. Blame Terry.
Hang on a minute. I literally said link with him in the transfers. Do you want him? That's not even. I do like to wind people up, but me here, I asked a question. Chris here says legit. There is no centre back leaders out there in Europe. That is just facts. The only possible one is Marquinhos. Yes. And he is gonna be super expensive. Listen, the viewers are not happy though. But remember, no echo chambers. You have to be able to handle difficult opinions here at the terrace. Make sure that like button's being hit. We're going to do predictions now, and then Tom and Neeks are joining us, and we're going to be doing a bit of a Hall of Fame debate. So predictions for tomorrow night's game only. Daniel, what's going to happen?
Do you want my optimism? Or do you want my real head?
I want from the heart.
Speak from this, bro.
Yeah, realness.
From the heart. It's going to be a Chelsea 1-0 win. 1-0.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jim and I.
I hate saying this. I hate it. I'm gonna back us. 2-0, Chelsea.
Come on.
Let's go. Anita.
I'm going with Daniel. 1-0 Chelsea. We seem to love a 1-0.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what's going to happen on the review show tomorrow night? If Varane has a stinker. Imagine Timo Werner.
Imagine Varane scores.
No, but it's like, imagine Timo Werner has him on toast all night and scores. Like, it's going to throw everyone's brains into meltdown.
Daniel, don't come back. Jem will be on 100.
Yeah.
Don't start me, man. Trust me. I've seen here already.
I'm going to go over 1-1 Chelsea win as well. I think Chelsea are going to do a madness, and I mean that in a real positive way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we want your score predictions. Either put them in the live chat now or the comment section below if you're watching the playback of this. Ensure that like button's been hit, that you subscribe, and that you click on the bell notification button. Very important to us here at the terrace that you get that done. But we are now moving into a new category here. We're going to move into a different feel. We're moving away directly from the Champions League, as it were. And we want to talk about the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame has been announced today with the first two inductees of Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. I think some people may have thought it may have been a different person or two that came into this, but the majority of people, the widely regarded greatest Premier League player of all time and the Premier League's highest ever goal scorer in Alan Shearer picked as the first two. I think most people wouldn't overtly disagree with, but there's a hell of a lot of talent that wasn't picked for the opening kind of influx. We're going to add in Tom. We're going to add in Neeks now to the conversation and discussion as well. And the players that we're going to focus on today around who we think should be the next. We can do this on a few shows this week to build out these preview shows. We're going to be looking at Eric Cantona, Drogba, Terry, Scholes, and Steven Gerrard, 5 of the most highly regarded Premier League football players of all time, and who we think should be one of the next 2 to be inducted. And I want to go welcome, by the way, Neeks and Tom. How are you both doing?
I'm good. I'm just here to bring some realness to the show because I don't know what my ears were dealt with earlier, man. But
all right,
I'm just here to defend one man only against the barrage that I'm going to get for it.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, when we look at the list that's up on here in front of us now, I want to go to Neeks first. You've just joined us. Of the 5 there, who would be your pick? Who would you put and induct into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's got to be Paul Scholes. It has to be. I mean, the man is a genius. He has been, as an individual, he's been very, very instrumental in the majority of Manchester United's title wins, if not all of them. Of course, we've always had great players around him, but he has been definitely instrumental, changing positions throughout his time at Man United, times playing behind the striker in a like a 4-4-2 support striker, sometimes playing as a normal 8, and then in latter years playing as a 6 deep line playmaker, showing all his versatility in terms of the midfield positions. For me, I think he is the best English midfielder, definitely of my lifetime. I can't really speak much before that, but definitely of my lifetime. Without going into debates about the others who could be potentially be on that list. For me, Scholes has to be in there. 11 Premier League titles. I'm just surprised, to be honest, that he maybe wasn't one of the first, but politics and that.
Yeah, Anita's face. I mean, do you mean when you look at that list, who would be your if you got the person, you get to pick the third person to go into that list onto the Hall of Fame. If these were the 5 options you had to choose from, who are you picking?
If I got to pick, or who I think will.
Yeah, who you would pick.
Who I would pick. I will pick the Didier Drogba out of these lot. 150%. Drogba has dragged us to a number of titles. He's dragged. Why are people looking at me like that? Don't look at me like that. I ain't picking Gerrard. Look at your face. I ain't picking Gerrard.
No, I don't. I'm not even picking Gerrard. I'm a Liverpool fan. How is everyone overlooking John Terry? The greatest centre-back in the Premier League.
Do you know what? John Terry is the greatest centre-back in the Premier League. However, if it's my pick, that's why I said who I think or who I want. I want Drogba. I think it will be Terry, but I want Drogba because purely Drogba has had such an influence on Chelsea and such an influence on me as a fan and several other Chelsea fans in the Premier League as well. That's why I will choose Didier Drogba before I choose John Terry.
Well, let me put this here just on the Drogba. Would you say Drogba is more of a Premier League legend, or was he more legendary for Chelsea for what he done in terms of the FA Cup and the League Cup and the Champions League for you? Because all my things of Drogba is he's a big game player. Chelsea ended up in finals, and in the league he always had disappointing numbers compared to other people. That's what will probably go against him. But he was a big game player. That's what made him such a legend.
Again, you're right. 100% you're right. But if it's my pick, that's who I'm choosing because of his influence he's had on my club, especially in the Premier League, outside the Premier League, for Chelsea as a whole. I will put him there 100%. Yeah, but if I'm gonna talk about who I think goes there, of course it's probably gonna be John Terry. That guy is a legend for Chelsea. He's been a legend. He's been probably the best Premier League defender. Obviously, other people may argue Rio Ferdinand, but he's probably the best Premier League defender that I've ever seen in my life. So I would think John Terry would definitely get chosen, but I would prefer Didier Drogba for my own personal reasons, which I don't want to go into because that's too political.
Just on this now, these are the 5 we're putting forward tonight. Tomorrow night it'll be a different 5. The night after it's going to be a different 5. So the likes of Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney won't be included because when he retired doesn't qualify for induction as of right now. But the Lampards and the Giggses of this world, everybody else will be added. Ashley Cole, they're all going to have an opportunity to be debated. And what we'll be doing on the community page going up in about 5 minutes time will be a link with a poll for you to vote. We want you to vote through. But it's about picking who you want. My next question isn't about who you want. My question here is for Tom. Steven Gerrard is on this list. Do you think Steven Gerrard should even be included in the Hall of Fame before players that have top-level players that have actually won it?
Right, well, my argument for this is Steven Gerrard is undoubtedly the greatest Premier League player to have never won a title. I think we can all sort of agree on that here. He's the best player to have never won a title. So
yeah, he's up there with Paul Pogba.
That probably does.
Do you get an award for that?
No, I know. He should be ahead of quite a lot of people. He should probably be on page 3. You're looking at page 3 for him. But I certainly think he should enter it because purely on ability, he's one of the best midfielders the Premier League's ever seen. But his issue was, up until 2013, the teams he had around him weren't good enough. And he was too loyal. If he'd went to a Chelsea when they were interested, if he'd ended up at a United, how many titles would he have won? How many Player of the Years? Because he was that good. But his loyalty is his biggest downfall in both ways because he stayed never won a title held against him. If he'd have left, people would have went, oh, well, Paul Scholes stayed at one team and look at what he did. Lampard stayed at one team and look at what he did. Why did you have to go? Why couldn't you do it at your own team? That's how it would have went either way for him. But I don't think he should be going in there early-ish. He should be.
I agree because sometimes there's a myth that some players, one man marching band and they drag their team to a Premier League title. Of course, certain players can have a heavier influence. But when you look at all the Premier League winning sides, it's never just one player. I mean, Leicester's probably the only side where you would say less individual brilliance in that team than any other title winning side. You look at all the other title winning sides, there's 5, 6, 7 potentially world-class players in those sides. Daniel making
not gonna lie though. I get it. I do get it. Like I do get the premise, but the reason why I'm not trying to hear that is because he got to 2 Champions League finals. He won one of them. So his team was good enough to get to 2 Champions League.
No. What I would say is, but a Champions League final, you play 12 games over a season.
I agree.
Over a season, but compared to 38.
Do you think it's different? Do you think that? I know it's different. Of course, winning the Champions League and winning Premier League, completely two different propositions. But at the end of the day, the teams that win the Champions League get close enough to the Premier League. Do you know what I'm saying? Think about it in history. The team
I agree.
We didn't, bro.
I also think this is Steven Gerrard, right? We're rewriting history based on looking back on what those teams actually did. There were multiple seasons through the noughties and the teenies that Gerrard was part of, where at the start of the season, people were saying they've got title aspirations. This team could win the title. It's only when they flopped, we look back and go, crap, weren't they? But at the time, they were predicted to go on and maybe go on and win things. And I don't think that, I think the excuse that I just played with really bad teams, it's such a weak one.
You can't use that.
He had one team, which I would class as a title challenging team. That was 07 to 09-10, because I don't class 2013, even though we were challenging, because our defence was about as solid as a wet paper towel. Martin Skirtle was scoring own goals every other week. We had John Flanagan at left back playing out of his skin, and Glenn Johnson was a ticking time bomb to concede goals.
I do understand.
So we got away with attacking there.
I do get that, but Gerrard was in multiple teams in the Premier League that were better than Leicester's and were better than Blackburn's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they won Premier League titles. And I think that Gerrard shouldn't just be protected because it's just like we were saying here. I always think that Henry is the best ever Premier League player. But what I don't like about it is the sweeping. Yep, undebatable. No one's ever going to touch it. Let's move on. It's like, whoa, why so quick? That Gerrard only didn't win it because he was in crap teams. It's like he said so quickly, and it's like brushed over so quick. I'm like, what are you hiding there, bruv? Like, what are you hiding? What are you hiding?
I think as well with like the Leicester debate and the Blackburn debate. Blackburn a bit less so because they actually did spend quite a bit of money and they were going into that season as a title challenging team. But Leicester especially, there was that season a severe lack of competition. It's judged by a lot of people to be the worst season in a sense in Premier League in terms of competition. When Gerrard was playing,
but I heard that. However, it would be severe lack of competition if, say, a Man United won it that year or Chelsea. You'll say, well, where was everyone else? For a Leicester to win it that year, it was as hard, if not harder, than any other year where a title challenger won it, because the teams they still had to beat and the points they had to make was a harder job for them than a Manchester United getting 90 points or a Chelsea getting 90 points or a Man City. So I hear you in terms of they won it because of lack of competition, but the degree of difficulty for them was probably harder than any other champion that we've ever seen in the Premier League.
All of Leicester's rivals that year lacked consistency. Man City were the closest challengers. I think I may be wrong with it. I haven't looked, but I think Leicester that year had the lowest. Leicester that year had like the lowest.
Yeah, I think we're digressing slightly from the conversation. To be fair, I just don't think Gerrard should be given that as an excuse. But Gerrard will get inducted. I think the one thing about this Hall of Fame that everybody's got to realize is there's going to be they're going to try and include it's going to be very inclusive of clubs. When I say inclusive, I mean of clubs. It will be really and truly, it should be dominated in the first 3 or 4 years of inductees by Chelsea and Manchester United players, because we've got legends of the league who have won the most amount of Premier Leagues. So you think about Ashley Cole, Lampard, Terry, Drogba, Petr Cech. Those 5 stand out to me as being, you just look at all 5 of them, got to be in it. Man United got 2 goalkeepers in Peter Schmeichel, Edwin van der Sar, got to be in it. There's Scholes, there's Giggs, there's Neville. Wayne Rooney's just outside the parameters right now because of when he retired. But you've got Cole and current manager like Ollie. There's so many that should be in there before other clubs. Arsenal have a few more. Petit, Vieira, Sol Campbell. These guys, I think, David Seaman. Ever before clubs, we start talking about players that have never won a Premier League title being in that before them. It'd be mad. But you'll probably see Matt Letizia get in there before them, and there'll be a few obscure ones from other clubs that will be thrown in just to like Darren Anderton will probably make an appearance or something like that. Or they'll do Teddy Sheringham, but his picture will be of him in a Spurs shirt rather than a Man United. They'll try and finesse it. They're going to do it. They will do it that way. In terms of one player I wanted to ask people's opinions on here, what about Eric Cantona as a player? 5 years in the Prem, 4 Premier League titles. The only year that he didn't win one was when he got suspended for kicking racism out of football. Kind of goes on the radar a lot, maybe because he's a little bit older than a lot of fans on socials.
I think he was one of the first like Mavericks we saw in the Premier League in terms of like the charisma, what he brought to the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, when he was bought as well, that actually won you the title, the first title for Alex Ferguson. So yeah, Eric Cantona is like he paved the way for a lot of the flary guys that we see as well in terms of the European style. I genuinely enjoyed watching, like looking back at the highlights of him and whatnot. I just think that there's a lot of players in the Premier League, and I think everyone can agree with this, that just get lost in translation. They seep through the cracks for some reason, and it's because of the amount of players that we see in the Premier League. Like it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. It just happens to them for some reason, and maybe it is to do with like off-field things or things away from it. Because I even think the Premier League, obviously, yeah, they have a board that probably won't forget certain players, but I think the Premier League could even forget about Eric Cantona, and you see him go in a bit later than he should. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of the guys that they come to the front. Like, when you think about Premier League best ever players, for some reason Cantona, I don't think he'd be in your top 20. Do you know what I'm saying? But for Man United fans, he would be. Do you know what I'm saying? But he just doesn't come to the front of your mind. So
I think it was his longevity more than anything. If you want my opinion with Cantona, I think he just wasn't here long enough. If he'd have stayed at Man United and foreseen his career there and won more than what he did, and don't get me wrong, he won a lot, and he was great to watch, inspirational to watch. I just think it was a longevity thing with him. What do you think, Nick? 'Cause I think probably more so if it wasn't.
I think it's the longevity. The fact that obviously he left Man United about 97. So who are the people discussing it now? I was 6 years old, so I didn't watch Cantona day in, day out, week in, week out, should I say? But I know what Cantona's done. I've gone back, I've looked, etc. The thing with Cantona, and it's probably something that's going to get missed because it falls just outside the Premier League era, was the fact that he was at Leeds in '92, and they won the first division, and he left and joined Man United, and they won the Premier League. So he was obviously the catalyst. If the Leeds one was in the Premier League era, you will see that he won the Premier League with one team and then won the Premier League with the next team that he joined. The same kind of adoration that Van Persie gets, where Man United are struggling. Kante, same thing. Where or the Van Persie, where he doesn't win anything with Arsenal, he goes to Man United and leads them to a title, and just for one title, he's deified. Kante, of course, did it with Leicester, then Chelsea the next season wins the PFA Player of the Year. But also what Terry mentioned. So if you were to add that anomaly, which is just falls outside the Premier League era, and in the fact that the 1 year we didn't win it, and we only missed out by 1 point, was the year that Cantona was not there. He comes back and we win the Premier League title. That would have been for him 6 league titles in a row, and he would have been he would have been the catalyst for that. So he definitely longevity is an issue at the timing of when he existed.
That transfer is mad as well. You've got to think Leeds with the best team in the country, and they sold their best player to their biggest rivals for £1.6 million. And what he went on to do is just like astronomical. I think what people forget as well is that he won Man United the double twice in 3 years, and the FA Cup Premier League double again in the 90s was a colossal achievement because of how serious the FA Cup was taken and how big it was a competition compared to now. But he definitely goes under that radar. And I know we already mentioned John Terry a little bit as well, and I know that there are issues people have with him based on the situation with, well, a number of things that he did. One with Wayne Bridges misses, but of course the biggest thing with Anton Ferdinand on the field of play, from a footballing perspective, in terms of what he is as a football player, there aren't very many centre backs that have been better than him in the league.
Well, 492 appearances for his football club. Forgetting the trophies he won, even though he's won bundles. The guy was voted, I think, UEFA Club Defender, I think in 2005. He was in the FIFA Pro World 11, I think 4 or 5 times as well, from 2005 to 2009. For me, the best defender ever to be blessed in the Premier League, in my eyes. This is my opinion. I know lots of people say Rio Ferdinand, some people would say some others. But for me, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame. If it's not now, he has to be in there eventually.
I think, I just want to add to that. I mean, that he, like, obviously Anita said Drogba, but I would have said John Terry straight away. I think Rio Ferdinand is the best when we talk about the peaks, but when we talk about the actually longevity, like, he remained a top defender for a long time. Obviously, Rio Ferdinand regretting moving to QPR and whatnot. Whether we want to count that as part of his career, I mean, he's yet to be seen. But I mean, John Terry still was winning the league even up until the time he retired. And it just shows you how important, like, I don't think there's, like, we talk about how important Steven Gerrard was to Liverpool, and I feel like it sometimes gets lost because, Gerrard did play with other great players, but everyone says Gerrard means so much to the city and whatnot, but John Terry meant so much to Chelsea. Like,
he was Chelsea.
Was the rep. Yeah, he was the rock
he was
of
Chelsea.
That team, like, facts, 100%. So I think definitely John Terry, and we're talking about Premier League, like, he Mr. Near Post, man. You never missed a header, man. You're always clearing it. So, man.
I have to tell you, John Terry is one of my favourite non-Man United players because he practically won us a Champions League. So, yeah, love him. Love him. Like, he helped Man United win a Champions League. We're forever in his debt. Plus, his mum made one of the best online viral videos. Actually, I'm just making a fact here. Like, you can't have a guy at me, not me. Do you know what I mean?
Is it mad that I'll probably put Frank Lampard ahead of John Terry? Is that a mad shout for you guys?
I'm gonna ask you questions about who is a bigger Chelsea legend, Lampard or Terry?
Ask them.
I think the reason I think it might be Lampard is because I think it would probably be to do more of his goals and what he done for the team. Without his goals, we wouldn't have won the things we won, Dan. You've got to remember that as well. John Terry was a rock. He was the leader. He was the organizer. He was everything. But Lampard was the guy that was always in the right position at the right time when we needed that goal and won the game.
He scored the famous goal against Bolton to win the league.
He scored important goals for us.
He did massively.
I'll take a lyric out of Gem's book. Gem says, attack obviously wins you games, but defense wins you league titles. And John Terry was the captain of the team that was winning us all our titles, president all
our last title in 2007.
We won the Champions League without him.
I mean, you could say Ryan Bertrand won.
I'm joking. I'm not even trying to disrespect John Terry. John Terry, he's
for sure.
He's 100% undoubtedly gonna be in this Hall of Fame. Undoubtedly, this guy. If there's one defender that will give their life for that badge, it is John Terry. And that is undisputed. Facts. You can talk about Vidic, you can talk about Rio Ferdinand. It is John Terry because why? He swallowed his tongue and still came back to playing full football. Swallowed his tongue.
He was amazing.
I remember it because I screamed and I was crying in my dad's arms. I didn't want to watch what was going to happen to him. I thought he was going to die, honestly. And I will always praise him for that. But for me, Lampard probably gets in before him because of the amount of goals, because of the impact he's had on Chelsea's Premier League winning seasons as well. And, he went to City. He did it in 2 clubs in the Premier League. That's shameless of me, but...
Oh, God.
I forgot about that.
I'm trying to comment for everyone on the panel.
One sec. Lampard will be, a few people are asking, Lampard's going to be included in tomorrow night's debate, just for all those asking in the comment section. Go on, Tom.
Just for everyone, if you had to have 3 inductees from your club, who would you have them be?
3 what?
3 people to go into the Hall of Fame from your club. Who would they be?
Those 3.
No,
I think Peter Cech's got to be a shout as well, man.
I think out of all the legends, but it's because it's Premier League as well. Like, I love Drogba. Don't get it twisted. I love Drogba, but he's last. He's last out of all the legends at the club. I even think we're disrespecting Ashley Cole. Old Ashley was the best left back. In the world, like undisputed. Cristiano Ronaldo even said, I don't know if it's a real quote, but I think he actually said that was.
We saw it on the pitch.
No one wanted to play against.
Bro, Ashley Cole.
You know why it's so mad? We've had so many proper legends. Like I can name you my top. I can name you my 5 right now. Proper legends in my lifetime that I've seen lift that Premier League trophy. So it's gonna be difficult. We're spoiled for choice. So any top 3 is not a wrong top 3, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just preference.
No one has a wrong opinion. It's preference. Yeah. John Terry, Petr Cech, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard. 5 legends right there that we've all watched lift the Premier League in our lifetime. Yeah. So. Yeah,
you know, there's one player. Not back to Man United. I know you don't want to take over the show. Give me a chance, man. No, there's one player who I fear is actually going to miss out. Not necessarily maybe on the panel or the terrace, but maybe in the actual voting. Is Jaap Stam. Jaap Stam was only here for 2.5 years.
Longevity.
He won 3 but he won 3 Premier League titles because he left in the January. But I think he still got the medal. He was the best defender in the world. And for me, the best, not the greatest because of the longevity, but the best defender we've seen in the Premier League. Better than Rio, better than Vidic, better than Terry, just in terms of ability.
Ability-wise. Ability-wise, I agree.
Yeah, because obviously, like, this is before my time, before I started watching football. And like Terry knows, I don't like to talk on players that I didn't watch week in, week out, especially like people like flipping, who we were just talking about, Cantona. That's why I stayed quiet during that debate. But if there's one person my dad always taught me to never disrespect, it was him. My dad said that is the greatest defender that you will see.
You know, people look at Terry. People look at Terry and Vidic and say, Vidic had this, the brawn and the strength, and Rio had that. Stam was both.
He had both. He had both.
I remember playing Liverpool. I think it was in the season of '99. And two of my brothers are Liverpool fans, and Michael Owen was killing it, and he had all that speed. And they were like, he's gonna strip you up today, whatever. And every time he'd run off, Jaap Stam would keep up with him pace-wise. And I remember my little brother getting like all teary about it, asking my dad if that was fair, that he's allowed to do that. he was so confused. I went, yeah, Jaap Stam, he didn't look, because he was like muscly, bald, and tall. You wouldn't think quick. He didn't look quick. You know what I mean? He looked like he had Swiss and Swallows tattooed on his hands. You know what I mean? But the guy had some serious speed. Maybe not over the first 2 or 3 yards. He was such a good player. But I think, Nick, as you said, because it was only 2.5 years, it won't be long enough to kind of get in. If I was to pick Man United's top 3, a little like Chelsea, it's so hard because we could pick 5 strikers that go into it. You could there 5 or 6 strikers. You got Rooney will eventually go into it, but you got Ruud van Nistelrooy that should and will be there maybe at one point with the goals he got. You've got all 4 from '99. Sheringham, because of what he did in the Prem overall, played till he was like 102. Right, still bagging well 50 as well. You had him. Yeah. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get into it. He's, I think, 4th in terms of minutes per goal ratio in the Premier League. He was colossal. And then you've got
Andy and Dwight, man.
Andy and Dwight. Andy Cole, Dwight.
Best partnership ever.
The White Yorks, like Andy Cole, 100% gets
face like this. I'm sat here trying to find today. We might have to put Michael Owen as one of ours. Michael Owen, we hate him, and he might have to sneak in as one of ours because he won a Premier League for United.
He's one of ours, mate. He's one of ours. One of ours, bruv. You ain't having him. You won it with us.
Surprised you didn't call
my 3 would be, I would pick Eric Cantona for what he did. I remember I'm a little bit older than you, ladies and gentlemen. So I would pick Eric Cantona. I would pick Paul Scholes. Depending on what happens in court in a few weeks, Ryan Giggs may or may not get on my list. I'm going to leave him now. And I mean that, like, depending on what he's done, that will change my mind and my opinion on it. So if it isn't Ryan Giggs, the next person I would go for, Cantona, him, I'd go for Peter Schmeichel. I think Peter Schmeichel was just colossal, and that's me. Like, there's so many to pick from as well. Michael Carrick's on my list to go into it. I think he was sensational, but maybe not fashionable enough. I don't know, but it's listen, honestly, Liverpool, if you want to buy it, you can buy one from us if you want.
I don't even know. We've got Gerrard, then we've probably got
Jamie.
Owen is probably going to be one of ours. Owen will be one of ours because he won a Ballon d'Or and won a league, but not for us. And then
What
our
about-
only other options are Van
Dirk
Dijk
Kuyt?
or Salah.
Dirk Kuyt?
They ain't
That's
old
what
enough.
it is.
They ain't retired yet, so
We're struggling. We're struggling if we're selecting Dirk Kuyt.
I got a question here, right? Who deserves that? One can't have it yet because he hasn't retired. But let's say we're in 5 years' time, he's retired, he's finished. Who would deserve a Premier? Who would deserve to go into the Hall of Fame more? Steven Gerrard or Eden Hazard?
Oh, Eden Hazard. Is that even a question? Come on. Look what he's won.
answer
Look
it.
what he's
What's he
won.
saying?
I'm sorry. Are
You know what?
serious?
The thing is,
What is
okay.
your argument for him? Go on. I want to hear what your argument is for Steven Gerrard if you're going to
I
pick
don't
him.
have one.
Nah, come on. Do you know what? Look, I don't even like to disrespect Steven Gerrard, innit? Like, let's not. But it's the answer's still Eden Hazard, by the way. But come on, we can't disrespect Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard gets in, but he's like page 6. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, Anderson.
Page 6 of Google search. Yeah, no one.
no, literally.
What's
I
happening?
got to win it to be top 2 pages, man. You got to win it.
Yeah.
Man.
I've got another question. This isn't one. There's no Gooners on, right? Cesc Fabregas deserves to be on the list.
Facts. He's a Chelsea legend.
Chelsea.
But
legend.
what club does he go in as?
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Ask Cesc Fabregas what shirt he wants to put them in. He ain't gonna say Chelsea.
He's going to say
Facts, he will
Chelsea.
say Chelsea.
He
No,
will say
facts.
Chelsea. He's admitted it.
I think he will. You
He has
know.
been-
I don't know what he wants to say. No, but listen, the thing is, again, maybe it's the time. I'm not a Chelsea fan or Arsenal fan, so it didn't make a difference to me. But the Fabregas that I grew up watching, enjoyed watching, was the Arsenal one. He was dynamic. The Chelsea one was some deep line. The deep line
Wait.
playmaker.
Let him finish. I want to hear it.
The Chelsea one was a deep line playmaker doing that. But he wasn't bursting into the box and like how he was at Arsenal. He was carrying the Arsenal. Granted, he carried them to nothing, but he carried them nonetheless.
No.
But Chelsea, he was one of a lot of other great players.
We were using the same thing for Steven Gerrard, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, but it's like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, and arguably, look, Fabregas for me has top 5 assists.
There you go. That's what I was about to say.
Anyway, pre-assists.
Assists.
That pre-assist, hey, that is way of perfection. But yeah,
The Burnley one, no one can forget that.
no,
It was brilliant. It
No
was
one
brilliant.
can forget that.
Costa Fabregas. So you're forgetting that. Beautiful.
The link.
He was better for Arsenal than he was for Chelsea. But it's just that.
yeah, he
Chelsea
was
had a
older.
better
He was
team.
older.
Chelsea had a
He was
better team.
older.
He was better for Arsenal than he was at Chelsea.
But
Yeah, but it's just
I
that
think
Chelsea
what
had a
might
better
be
team.
Arsenal Fabregas in is there's an abundance of midfielders that excel at that Fabregas at Arsenal role, them arriving into the box late and getting goals. That deep line role he did at Chelsea,
Not everyone.
that first season under Mourinho, he
You
ran
expected
the
that.
league.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what
right.
made
He won
him
the
so
league.
special. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Good head on your shoulders, mate.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, he won the league. So Hazard didn't carry. Oh, thanks for.
Wait, hold on.
Here
You said you won the
Here
league,
we
right?
go.
Thank you.
Here
That's
we
what
go.
I'm
Here we go.
No one said that. No one said that.
No.
No one said that. No,
The-
no.
The Conte year was very important as well.
I love it. No, I do. Like, there's so many. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to do a little bit of a chat about this every day with different people. We 5 new people added every single day. We're going to run polls every day for the next week on the terrace as well. Right now, the 5 that we mentioned today that you can see on the screen are currently in a poll. Drogba is currently last with 13%. Second from last is Gerrard with 15%.
he's above someone. He's above someone. Come on.
John Terry is in third place on 18%, Cantona second on 23%, and Paul Scholes first on 31%. That is on the community page of the Football Terrace right now. So go across to that vote. Make sure you hit the like button, then it gets shown to more people and everything else. There's going to be so many great players we've got to add to this. We've got to add. There's so many legends. All the ones we mentioned tonight, but you've got Company.
Vincent Company, yeah, him.
Company's
He has that goal as well against Leicester recently, which is going to put him
Company
very
will
high
be,
up.
Yep, Company will be on the list. Van Persie's going to be on the list. There's going to be so many top
Yeah,
players.
Torre's got to be there as well, surely. He's
Yaya,
a beast, man.
Yaya,
He's a beast.
100%. Yaya's going to be on there. What we're going to do is we're going to run it for a week, and then we're going to take the top 2 people from each poll, and then we're going to run a tiering night on the terrace to tier who goes in order of the next level of inductees. That's what we're going to do. Otherwise, it's going to have 100 names on the list, and the show's going to take 7.5 hours to get through, and my voice will go again. So we're going to narrow it down and have a big night, and we're going to do the Football Terrace inductees. Do you know what's interesting as well, right? I was reading an article on Give Me Sport, and it was about all these top players that have never won trophies. It was all about Harry Kane. Do you know I didn't realise that Stan Collymore never won a trophy?
Yeah.
No, I knew that.
Wait,
knew
8
that,
trophy,
yeah.
full stop.
None.
Oh,
I
right.
actually
Just
knew
in,
that.
oh,
He
right.
joined
Yeah, yes.
Liverpool during the Spice Boys era. That was when we didn't win any trophies for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
So he spent his prime, is a strong word, but he spent his prime in a Liverpool team that
I learned
was
that on Premier
there
League.
but not there.
Guys, if you click on his honours on his Wikipedia, it says under honours, it just says Premier League Player of the Month, January 1996. That's it.
Was that when he scored the goal against Newcastle?
Yeah.
Comes in there.
Like,
That's
yeah,
his moment. That's his moment.
crazy. Like, and that's, do you know, that's the thing, right? Now, Harry Kane scored a lot more goals, but I've actually seen Collymore in the top 30 list for people that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Why?
But he's the typical kind of person that will get into it because he played for a number of clubs, and it makes certain clubs that are very unlikely to get players on it feel involved. That's what he'll be, someone that gets in it. They'll throw in the Darren Huckabee will probably get into it. You know,
There's no chance. I know they will put him in, but there's no chance he should get in. I don't remember after us, but I know that before, when he got to us, we were his first major chance, and he couldn't even be bothered moving down to Liverpool to actually try and give it a go. That's why he was sold after a year and a half or 2 years or whatever it was. The attitude was never there for him, and that's what held him back from that top level, because he had all the ability.
He was a very, very talented footballer.
What about Beckham?
Beckham will be on the list. I think Beckham's got an opportunity, but I think with Beckham, a bit like with Cantona, he's been away so long. Like he left before Cristiano Ronaldo joined, and a lot of people don't mention. I know Ronaldo can't be included yet because he's like, but when everyone says about the greatest ever player in the Premier League, no one ever really brings up Ronaldo, and he's been gone 10 years. Like it's been nearly 20 years that Beckham hasn't played in the Prem, but he'd be on my list as another person that could go into it. There's no doubt. Gary Neville has got to be on that list. What about Jamie Carragher? Yeah.
What about Sammy Hupia? Or
We're clutching now.
No. You do not put Martin Skelton there. Martin Skelton do not deserve.
What about Stig Bjørneby? Stig Bjørneby from the 90s.
Jan from camp, get him back in.
Yeah, Harry McAllister. How about him?
Oh, bless him.
I got it.
All the players with a chance of playing.
I got it. Jay Spearing.
Spearing.
I promise you, Terry. That's who I was going to say. I was just about to say it.
He won't qualify, unfortunately. He's still playing in League Two. We're going to have to go further back now.
He was the
Christian Poulsen.
Christian
Poulsen. Alberto Aquilani.
Exactly. Yeah, he retired. Yeah, I remember when he signed that Arnie. I remember Liverpool.
He was that. It was
surely.
Yeah, from Roma. I think it was from Roma they bought him from as well.
Xabi Alonso's probably got a chance, but that's because he was just
surely Dejan Lovren should go in there after his comments about being the best defender in the world. Come on, man.
Would Luis Suarez get in there?
No.
He would. On ability, yes, but he doesn't have anything. His ability alone is not enough to carry him above certain players in that list who've got all the trophies for it. But ability-wise, if we go off an individual season, in my opinion, still has the best individual season I've ever seen.
You must have been
31 goals, 10 assists.
You must have been born after 2008. Bless you.
Yeah.
No. Ronaldo's season's good, but you've got to bear in mind that Suarez did it in 33 games.
That's his own problem. I didn't say to get mad.
It's his own fault. And I don't want Ivanovic, but still.
But that season that he was so good. What did Luis Suarez win?
Yeah, no, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about us getting knocked out the FA Cup by Arsenal.
Tell me you're bad.
That bit's true.
We're down bad for this.
We have an update. Drogba has just gone past Gerrard, and Gerrard is now bottom of the vote.
It's about
I have my short-lived joy. I have my joy. He was above someone.
Drogba has gone in front of him.
What are we saying on Ryan Babel? Are you getting in there?
Ryan Babel. He's still playing.
Ryan Babel. He just wants to
I think he plays in Turkey. I'm just looking at the Premier League's actually released some new nominees that people can vote on.
Roy Keane was one of them, weren't he?
Yeah, which I'm not surprised. Les Ferdinand's on there.
Yeah,
Les Ferdinand.
Yeah, I get that.
No, it kind of goes to your point that you're saying that you know they're trying to involve other clubs and other. Because he hasn't won anything.
Did he win something, Les Ferdinand? I can't remember.
He won the League Cup in 1999. That's it, I think.
So let me what I'll do, I'll share it on the. Bear with me a second, peeps, before I move a few things around.
Bobby Fowler's there. What's he doing there?
No, but he will be.
He will be on there, won't he?
They will. So these are the nominees
What's the list?
that people can vote for now. So you've got Tony Adams, Beckham, Bergkamp, Campbell, Cantona, Cole, Drogba, Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Fowler, Gerrard, Keane, Lampard, Letitia, Owen, Schmeichel, Scholes, John Terry, Van Persie. I mean, we spoke about Ian Wright. We didn't mention, but he should be there. If I'm picking out of all these players,
why is Van Persie there?
I'm just going to vote.
You already know.
I can select 6.
All the Man United ones, Terry. I've done it already.
Wait, Terry, is the Hall of Fame based on people's votes?
Yeah, is it votes?
Well, it would be.
If it is based on votes.
That's it.
No, I don't think it's completely based off vote. I think it's like a 25-75 split. So it will still go. So
shameless.
If it is based on votes, then Steven Gerrard
as well. I'm tweeting it.
Terry, I wish I could be as shameless as you, mate, but we've only got 3 on there, so I'm inevitably going to have to pick a United player.
Yeah.
No, it's a mad one, but no, listen, you do that. We're going to do our own voting this week as well, and do our own lists as well. But you start looking at them names. We had some players here, didn't we? We had some players here in this league. Everyone who's tuned in this evening, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Anita, Daniel, Jem, thank you for being here for the preview, and Tom and Neeks for the Hall of Fame conversation as well. We're back tomorrow with more content for you, and of course, it's going to be a big day tomorrow. Champions League football is back. Cannot wait. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.